free and democratic society where we cherish and, frankly, take for granted the freedom to travel, freedom to associate, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and a number of other civil liberties, the task of those in national security is to find the right balance between those freedoms and our security and not go too far in one direction. You go too far in one direction, you compromise our security. You go too far in the other direction, you compromise our liberties and the things that make this country great. Whether we label it terrorism very often depends entirely on the state of mind of a deranged person. And so we end up with situations where the West Side Highway attack is quickly labeled terrorism because he left a note in the car pledging allegiance to ISIS. Contrast that with the devastation caused in Las Vegas is not considered terrorism. An act of domestic mass violence with a gun, our response from our national leaders, we'll talk about it later. So I'm not necessarily advocating the domestic, uniquely American, by the way, style of mass violence should be labeled terrorism, but I think it's time that we put all of it in the same level of severity and seriousness. There is a lot of disenchantment with Washington right now. I suspect that will change. Democracies always change with every election cycle. The one thing I do intend to do in private life to serve the public interest is, frankly, encourage young people to think about public service.
He was such a unique speaker because he could touch on all of these various topics and give our members exclusive insight about how he thought about it when he was at Homeland Security and about how important these topics are on a daily basis for us as civic leaders, being business owners on a daily basis, what we could be doing in the city.
I always do a lot of great networking at the Chamber, and I learn a lot. And this was another example of the Chamber bringing knowledge that I can then bring to my clients.
To me, what was special and important about it was hearing the perspective of someone who is in public service, which to me is very important, but also someone who is in a role that greatly impacts not just the country, but New York. Having conversations and discussions like these on things that are not only of interest, but that impact us, I think is very important. And the Chamber does a great job at integrating all those things.
Members are meeting each other, which is the most important thing, because we want them to feel like they're connecting with each other. They also feel like they're able to make an impact on policies and topics of importance because they're part of the conversation.